Well, hey, howdy, hey, friends and neighbors, Scott here, and today I thought we could look at an herbal approach to allergies. It's getting towards that time of year. Spring has sprung, and we're going to have flowers and pollen and all kinds of things here before very long. And I know that allergies get a lot of people, so this might be a good time to tackle this issue and see what kind of things we can do, herb-wise and and otherwise, to help take care of this. Now, I myself used to have really bad allergies. Um, and then kind of gradually got past that by doing a lot of experimenting with changing. Well, let's just go to the next slide here. Our three strategies by looking at different herbs, by changing my diet, and by altering my lifestyle. And I've done some experimenting, and I'm going to share with you the things that I feel like work pretty good, things that have worked for me, and maybe hopefully will work for you. I will still get some degree of allergic reaction, but when I'm doing better at following these protocols or these strategies, the allergies certainly are much less than they would be. So let's start with the herbs because that's what that's what you're that's what you're mainly looking for. And this is just a list of herbs. Now the ephedra, this is the only one that I haven't actually tried, but I put it on because I do hear a lot of good things about it. Now, when I say ephedra, I'm not talking about the extract that they made from the plants where it's all concentrated and it's not in its natural form that I think it got banned. I'm talking about using an actual ephedra genus plant. Those are generally much more of a moderated effect. And we have a plant in this genus. It's called Mormon tea. I think it's called Brigham tea also. It's ephedra it's ephedra maybe Arizonica or something like that. Uh, and that is supposed to give you just it gives you just a little kick, just a little boost of energy, kind of helps to dry you up. Um, Similar to the way that coffee will. Just a little bit of coffee without the sugar in it, because sugar is pro-inflammatory. But if you just get some coffee or some tea, or the Yopon holly is another. That's a native caffeinated plant that you can use. A little bit of caffeine helps to sort of dry you up, and it's a little anti-inflammatory, helps to bring down the inflammation response from some of those histamines that cause the allergic reactions. In the picture there is purple dead nettle, and we had somebody on the site just a couple days ago post a picture of some dead nettle in a basket. It looked really nice. But dead nettle has some anti-allergen properties. I'm not sure of the exact pharmacological reason for that. I'm not sure if they're antihistamine or if it has to do with their anti-inflammatory properties, but they do seem to have some good anti-allergen effects, and I will make a tea out of that in the spring. So that's something that you might try. It's real nice with milk. That's one of those teas that I like with milk. And you can use nettle leaf is also a good one, and really in any nutritive, nettle leaf is a nutritive, and it's anti-inflammatory, but nettle in particular seems to have some good. This is stinging nettle we're talking about. It has some good anti-allergen properties. But then, yeah, any of the nutritive herbs, when your body is well nourished, you tend not to overreact when you are, provoked by these allergens. And any anti-inflammatory herbs tend to help reduce the allergen response as well. And there are a lot of anti-inflammatory herbs that you can try out and see which ones work for you, which ones have an affinity for your allergy symptoms. Now, in terms of diet, one of the things that helps me the very best is to avoid sugars and simple carbs. So when we get into allergy season, which for me is mostly spring, which is a shame because I love spring, um, I will turn down the carbs, turn down the sugars. You may have heard that I've had a little bit of a stuffy nose on the last couple of videos, and that's entirely my own fault because I have really been indulging in these sugary things that I should not be eating. They sure, they taste good at the moment, they make you feel good for that moment, but they just don't make you feel good in the long run. And so I've had a little bit too much inflammation. It shows up in my nasal passageways. It makes me kind of stuffy. Another thing you can do is drink a lot of water. Just flush all that stuff out. Your body's mostly water anyway. It likes water. It likes fresh water coming in, so it can keep itself cleaned out. The more water you drink, the more you wee, and as you wee, you pass out any of these irritants and toxins and gunk out of your body. So your body has less of a well, we could call it a toxic load or an irritant load that it has to deal with. So, if you're already, right at the peak of what your body can handle before you start showing symptoms of some kind, and then some pollen blows in, boom, you're over the limit, and your eyes start to water, and they get itchy, and your nose starts to run, and you get a little cough, and you get wheezy when you breathe because you're pushed over your limit. But if you're drinking a lot of water and you're continually flushing these things out, it will take more environmental allergens to trip you up and to trigger those effects. Also, just any highly nutritive foods or herbs can help. It just gives your body what it needs. And avoid any of the foods that give you problems. I know some people do better on milk and some people do worse on milk. And I personally think that a non-pasteurized raw milk probably is the least irritating for your body, and it's in the most natural form. I know that not everybody can get that, and it's more expensive. Or some people have trouble with, nightshades, or certainly if you have even a mild food allergy, stay away from those, and that'll help a lot too. And then some optional strategies that might work for you or might not, just depending on your own, personal peculiarities. Or you might try spicy foods, which, depending on the type of symptoms that you get, that can help. Sometimes it kind of helps confuse your body or override the allergy symptoms, and demulcent herbs too. For some people, that won't work because that will feel too slimy and gunky, and it makes you feel too clogged up. But for some people, it's very soothing. I would say most of the time, demulcent herbs are a good thing. They're very soothing. They feel mucilaginous, but they don't actually promote mucus production in the body. But I put it as an optional strategy because for some people, if you're wheezing and then you have this slimy thing and it feels kind of like it's coating, and I could see how it wouldn't work for some people. And then in terms of lifestyle, you got to take care of yourself, right? If you get enough sleep, that's part of your body's, recovery and rebuilding time, and that's when your body does some of the processes to, reset you for the next day. And if you don't reset, then the next day is going to be harder on you, and those stressors are going to hit you harder and have more, symptomatic responses. Another thing that really helps me is strenuous exercise. There's a quote, I don't know who it's by, it's something to the effect of, if exercise was a pill, it would be a wonder drug, and it really would. One of the things that really helped me as I've been experimenting with this, one of the things that has consistently been so helpful for me whenever I have an allergic response, is to go out and do some type of strenuous exercise. Now, I know not everybody, has the physical health to do, just any exercise. We all have our own limits. But when I go out and run until I feel like I want to throw up, or do some, heavy lifting. It doesn't have to be long as it's hard and miserable, and you just want to throw up at the end. Burpees, that's a great exercise you can look up. That's definitely one that makes you want to throw up. And just a funny thing happens, when you just really destroy your body doing exercise, your body says, I don't have time for these allergies. We're being destroyed by this exercise. These allergies have to wait. And it just puts them on the back burner and just doesn't care. It really, really lowers the allergen response. It's one of the most effective things you can do if you're, physically able to, destroy yourself like that, destroying yourself in a good way. And then you want to avoid stress. I know that strenuous exercise is very stressful, but it's a good kind of stress, and it's a temporary stress, and you can relax the rest of the day. But stressful situations will provoke more allergen response. They don't give you allergies, but they make you respond inappropriately, largely to allergens, or they can. Especially that chronic stress that just, in America, we like to marinate ourselves in stress all day. That's the American way right there. And you may want to strategically, gradually expose yourself to allergens. Of course, if you have a very serious allergy to something, talk to your doctor about it. But if we're just talking about, run-of-the-mill, sniffles and sneezes, gradually increasing your exposure so that your body doesn't freak out, rather than just staying inside until one day you run out into a field of flowers and start rolling around in it, and then you can't breathe and your eyes swell shut. And lastly, psych yourself up. I know this seems like some, mumbo jumbo, but I tell you, another one of the things that has worked for me really well is uh, one spring, I was tired of having allergies. I was tired of dealing with it, and at that point in my life, I was buying allergy medicines, which I don't ever. Well, it's been years since I've had allergy pills, but I used to get that Allegra or one of those. And you take it for a while and it works really great for a while, but then you kind of get used to it and you have to take some more. You know how these things work. And I was just sick of it. And I just wasn't having any of it this particular year for whatever reason. I was just done. And I said, nope. I just talked to myself. I said, nope, I do not have allergies. And I knew full well that I had allergies. I knew that my eyes were getting itchy and I was starting to get that runny nose and that itchy throat. But I just said, no, no. I just got fed up with it. And I just told myself, I do not have allergies. No. just like I was mad at myself and I was just telling the allergies what they could go do with themselves. You just pack your bags and you walk out the door because we don't want your business around here. And growing up in public school, I had very good scores in science and I understand how these things are supposed to work. And yet, for some reason, that was very effective, way more effective than it should have been. Just telling myself aggressively, no, you do not have allergies. I do not have allergies. I am not having a problem. Everything is fine. And I just kind of got mad about it. And it worked. Not 100%, but a lot more than it should have. And someday we are going to have some kind of video about the placebo effect, because I think that is the most remarkable, near supernatural ability that we have, that in science we tend to brush it off and like dismiss it as this nothing. Oh, that's just the placebo effect. It's nothing. Oh, the placebo effect. That's where you believe something is going to happen, so it has an effect. But it's not really. There's no chemistry happening. It's just this trick of your mind. It's the placebo effect. And I want to say, whoa, wait a minute, guys. You mean I don't have to take this drug if I believe that I'm going to feel better, then I actually just feel better and my symptoms actually measurably reduce? Yeah, but that's you're not really taking the drug. Nothing really happened. You just convinced yourself. Well, yeah, I think maybe we're asking the wrong question. We're not saying, was this effect caused by the placebo effect, or was it a pharmacochemical effect? That's not the right question. The right question is, why should there be any placebo effect at all? Why is that a thing? That's the better question. And someday we're going to talk about that. I'm sorry I got a little off topic here. But that's gonna wrap it up. You're gonna adjust your you're gonna do whatever you want to do. I mean, you're a big boy or a big girl, so you make your own choices. But if you adjust your diet and your lifestyle, not in a crazy way, just make a couple of healthy steps. You don't have to have a perfect diet and a perfect exercise regime and take all of the herbs. Just take a couple of steps, make a few things better, and see what kind of a difference it makes. But you get your diet, your lifestyle, and your herbs together, and let's all make it through this upcoming allergy season together and get through this thing. And remember, you tell yourself, I do not have allergies anymore. Just get mad at it. It's gone. And hopefully everything's going to work out fine. You can come back and send me a message or post some comments on this. Let me know how it worked out for you. Or, if you've had any experience with allergies, feel free to put in the comments if you've got some extra tips, or if you have a story you want to tell. Share that stuff. It's good to share information. And now we've come to the shameless plug for my Patreon page. So if you don't want anything to do with Patreon, you just turn the video off. It's done now. But for anybody else that's curious, if you're looking for more videos and for more information about herbal medicine, about foraging, about survival, occasionally actually about zombies, and you want to support the anti-zombie effort, why don't you head down to patreon.com/foragersguide, where you too can give me $1. That's right, you can have the amazing opportunity to give me $1, and in exchange you can get extra goodies like ebooks and extra articles and extra videos, all kinds of great stuff. I forget what all the bonuses are on the page, so you better go and check it out yourself. And until next time, I want you to keep your eyes out for plants and for zombies. Happy foraging, everybody. Achoo! That was the fakest sneeze ever.